Welcome to E360 TV, the live streaming and on-demand destination for influential voices and enlightened audiences. We offer trending, grassroots, and purpose-driven content across a diverse range of interests. E360 TV is more than just watching programs. We offer the ability to interact with live shows connecting audiences to real, authentic influencers and storytellers while streaming to millions of devices. Real experiences. Raw conversations. One destination for it all. E360 TV.
Good morning, good morning, good morning, good morning. That was my Luther Vandross impersonation. How you like me now? Good morning, everybody, and welcome to today's installment of Bathrobe Moments. I'm your host, Lorenzo El Heriso. I'm feeling, we had margaritas yesterday. I guess it hasn't worn off yet. I'm still feeling kind of Spanishy. How are you, and how was your weekend? It was a beautiful weekend. We got a lot done. Stuff around the house. Oh, we attended a funeral last night for about 3 minutes. We had a 3-minute funeral out on the curb. Laid old Bessie to rest, my grill. She served us well, God love her. It was really sad for real. I took her little, I kept the grates, you know, because I can use that with my little smoker and stuff. But put the rest out on the curb. There's these trucks that come around. Today's our trash day, so you can put all that stuff out there, and these trucks come and take stuff in the middle of the night and you don't even hear them. She was gone this morning, God love her. Bessie, God rest your soul, you served us well, girl. We have a new replacement coming this week. I've already named him. That's right, it's a him this time. Emmanuel Webster Lewis, because he is a Weber. Get it? Weber, Webster, whatever. Y'all, you know, tough crowd. Good. Thank you, J.R. Reed. I see you applauding in the green room. Dano, you'll hate himself. Oh, no, don't try to get on JR's wagon. Okay, I see you trying to clap after. Anyway, I love my grilling. I've had a picture of this grill up on the refrigerator for about 3 years, and he finally, the paperwork went through, and we're bringing him home. Well, they're bringing him completely put together. I was going to try to, have you ever assembled a gas grill? they should never leave that booklet out on top of it when you're shopping. Because I was like, well, I don't want to pay $150 for them. And I opened it up. There was about 5,000 little nuts and bolts and all those lines that go to it. No. N-O. No, thank you, ma'am. I'll pay. So anyway, that's how that went. We went to the gym all weekend long, Brian, my husband, and I, and it was just a great weekend. It really, really was. Starting to feel a little bit more like it used to, right? We're fully vaccinated. Let me tell you, did I tell y'all what happened to my wallet? Lord have mercy. Trying to do too much sometimes. Don't slow down. Put my wallet on top of the car. Had both of our COVID vaccine cards going to Walgreens to laminate them. Drove off. Luckily, one of the neighborhood landscapers saw it fly off my car in the middle of the intersection, ran out there and got it and brought it back to me later that evening. I thought we had a poltergeist in the house because, you know, my phone is still missing from Christmas. I bet it was up on the roof too. So anyway, he returned it. Blessings, blessings, what we do for others. See, little times like that, they come back. So, and would not take a reward, but I tracked him down 2 days later and made him take it. So that was a blessing. I felt really good about that. And so pray for me and my feeble-minded self that we got a checklist in the garage now. Check for your phone, check for your keys, and check for your wallet. Go, right? Okay, next thing you know, I'll be walking around the neighborhood. Anybody know where I live? Lord, I hope not. Pray for me, y'all. Help me welcome to the show my sidekick. This is my version of Ed McMahon, Miss Lucy McGillicuddy Ricardo. And today we're drinking salted caramel. You ever watch little kids, like when you give them a sippy cup, like in the middle of the kitchen floor, how they sit there looking at you like this, drinking like this? They won't breathe. I'm like, breathe. I don't want it. My little nephew, Pookie, he does that. And I'm like, what is wrong with you? And he's like, it's so funny. I just love little ones, right? So anyway, welcome back to a beautiful week. I know. Thank you all for coming in today. This year, our theme is Show Me Your Soul, and I'll show you mine. Now, you remember a couple of weeks ago at the beginning of World Autism Month, we had on World Autism Day, what was that, April 2nd, I believe, we had a 90-minute special bringing awareness and whatnot, having the conversation about autism. And we had some gentlemen on the spectrum with us, 5 of them. Was it 5? I think it was 5. And 5 with Dano, who is not on the spectrum. Oops, did I knock on wood? Anyway, I think I am, to be honest with you. I really think I am. I saw something, and Brian told me, my husband told me it wasn't actual. I saw a chart I was going to use that day, and it had ADHD on the spectrum thing. And Brian said, you see that, but it's not really true. We're going to talk about the day. I bet JR knows. It is true. It's not true. Okay. And I also put a website up that all of the autistic panelists went crazy. If we'd have been in person, they'd have probably beat me up. They were like, do not use that. We're going to talk about that today, about how you get great resources. And who do you know? How do you know who to trust, who to believe? Just because they say .org doesn't mean they got their right hand on the Bible. Can I get an amen? So anyway, it's time to get today. I didn't even put a promo out. The guys had an idea, J.R. Reed of J.R. Reed Speaks, and Dano from Weekly Dose of Dano here on the E360 Television Network. They decided they wanted to do a little bit more about raising awareness and not do it during the month while all eyes were on it. They wanted to do something after the month had finished, and we're going to talk about their special, which is coming up and taking the previous special to a whole new level. And we want you all to know about that, and you can help us get as many people to that wonderful 90-minute special coming up as possible. So without further ado, they've both been here before independently, but never here together. So we're still going to do what we do. We're going to welcome them to the stage by pouring our hearts into the conversation. Now's a great time to share the broadcast, invite somebody else to get here. And also, I don't know, I forgot every word I was getting ready to say. Bell of Purpose, help me, Lord Jesus. Bell of Purpose is in effect today, which means that when you hear the bell ring, it's your opportunity to be a part of something greater than yourself. It means make a comment, pick up some of these good golden nuggets that are out for the taking. And also, again, if you haven't already, hit the share button. and let somebody know what's going on over here in Bathrobe Moments. Put your hands together, put your hearts on the screen, put your hearts into this conversation today as we bring to the stage J.R. Reed of J.R. Reed Speaks and Dano of Weekly Dose of Dano. Oh, here they come.
Over. What's going on, everybody? How are y'all doing this morning?
Who you talking to?
I'm talking to everybody. So, JR, can you guys hear me?
I'm just kidding. How come y'all got makeup and wardrobe people?
No, I don't.
No, I just put on a t-shirt and a jacket because I don't own a bathrobe.
Well, you guys look kind of stunning this morning, if I say so myself.
Well,
Must be the lighting. So anyway, moving on. Good morning, everybody. And lower your chairs. You're taller than me. It's my show. And I'm crooked in the screen. I'm gonna move. I'm gonna fix this right.
Lorenzo.
Oh no, I got it. There we go. Now we even. Good.
Lorenzo, I just like to say my condolences on Betsy. I lost mine last year, and I know what a heartbreak it is.
Trust. You know,
yes.
Brian was like, "Can I help take Betsy to the curb with you?" I said yes, but please let's be respectful. So I sang a Negro spiritual. I did Go Down Moses as we were taking her to the curb. We said a few words over her, thanked her for real. But the whole thing, the whole bottom had fallen out. All her little grates had rotted, and there were holes in the back. I had to pull it away from the house. Thought we almost burned the house down one day. So anyway, it was time for her to go. God rest her soul. So little Emmanuel will be here Tuesday, and you know I got to have a shower for him tomorrow to welcome him to the neighborhood, because you know I'm famous in this neighborhood for my ribs, right?
I did not, but
I am.
Keep in mind, I'm coming to Chicago in the middle of May, and keep the famous ribs in mind as I come to see you.
Yeah. They're famous for making.
Not gonna happen. Okay, bye, JR. I'm just kidding. I'm kidding. I will, absolutely. And I'm excited about your trip to Chicago. I'm so happy that you both are here. And I just want to say, I'm proud that you all took it upon yourselves to take this conversation about autism and what's really going on to a whole new level. Because, you know, I mean, I know some people thought I was just a crazy fool on the other special when I said to the panel, I said, you know, there was once upon a time where I really thought that autism was the same thing as Down syndrome. I had no idea because nobody was having, this is like in the 90s, early 2000s, and I didn't know anybody. I wasn't in this business yet. So I had no idea what it meant, who it affected, none of it. So I'm so appreciative for what you all are doing. And I just, before we get started about that, guys, and I'm gonna turn it over and let you guys tell everybody what you're planning. I know you're in the process of building it out, and we want to support you. But there's some stuff happened over the weekend. I heard a raven landed on the hood of my car yesterday with a note tied to his leg. And of course, you know, after I ran and got Brian to go out and get the note off his leg, because I'm scared of ravens. Vultures, hawks, ravens, all of that. He came back in with a note that said that there was an announcement about you, Dano. Did something happen over the weekend? You got some news?
Oh, yeah. I have really big news. I'm super humbled and excited and grateful just to say that I have recently gotten the position of associate producer for the E360 television network.
What? Wait a minute. That's my old position.
Old position? No, it's not. They created it just for me. That's what it is.
Well, anyway, congratulations. I'm just playing. I knew. We're really excited to have you aboard at the network. And nice. Congratulations. How's that make you feel?
It makes me feel great just because, you know, as a young person, I would say when I go to talk to certain
Why you
people.
got to throw age around?
What do you mean?
Yeah.
Why you had to say young? Why couldn't you just say person?
Why?
I was gonna do the same thing, Lauren.
Okay.
Well, I was going to say.
You know what? I'm done. Okay, JR, how you doing?
Good, man. How you doing?
Good. And I love this show, don't you? Oh, man, this is perfect.
What do you think about these millennials?
Right. Now, are we going to have this problem again?
No, all right. So
Okay,
as a
good.
person,
Yeah.
let me just, as a person, to make it better for you, when people look at me, I feel like when they see, I'm going to say it again, I don't care. When they see a young person, they don't give me the respect I think that I deserve. So with this position now, I have that title of authority, which puts some respect on my name. You know what I mean? All the hard work that I do, I'm just happy to be able to provide for the network and to help other people bring their story to light and to give them a platform to be able to share whatever they need to speak about.
Beautiful. I agree. And and you're right. And I just want to say this on a serious note. I myself didn't really realize how important it was to the younger crowd to be heard until Power We Symposium, when the kids started saying, how come you never have youth as speakers? You always have us in the audience. Maybe you should put a couple of us up there so we can talk to the adults in the audience. And that's exactly what we did at the last Power We Symposium down in Atlanta. Austin Mulrine was, I think, 18 at the time, and he was our first youth speaker. And then we had Justin Blue at the same event, who was actually filming The Real World, season 38 at the time. So we had the entire cast in the audience, and MTV was there. And yes, young people have a lot to say, and they want and deserve to be heard. So bravo, keep up the good work. You're a great example. Looking forward to all the wonderful things you're going to bring to the network. JR, how you been? Anything new and exciting in your world?
I'm co-hosting a panel this week for differentbrains.org on Thursday, getting ready for this special, just loving life, and so excited about what Dano and I are getting ready to do here in a couple weeks.
I hear you. Now, one more comment to you, JR, before we get into this wonderful special that you guys have planned. JR, I just got to know, how in the world do you dye your chin thing? I don't know what that's called. Is that a goatee?
It's a goatee, yeah.
How do you dye that purple and not get purple dye all around your face, lips and everything? Because if I did it, everything from here to here would be purple. How do you do that?
A toothbrush.
You brush it in?
I use a toothbrush because I've got more control.
What is that? Some Ritz dye that you dye clothes with? What is it?
No, it's actually, I get it. My brother's neighbor in California is a hairstylist and owns her own salon, and I go through about a tube a year, and every couple of years she sends me a couple of tubes. Okay. The only purple chinned guy I know, and I love it. I don't think anybody else could pull it off but you. It looks so nice. Thank you very much.
Yes. Loving that hat again too. So anyway, you guys, let's get down to it. Autism. JR, you are actually on the autistic spectrum. Okay. Oh, I didn't even notice that. Sitting right in front of me.
Hey.
Accept, understand, love. Nice.
Yep.
Tell everybody how long you were diagnosed as an adult. Late?
46, and that was 9 years ago.
46, you said?
I was age 46, and that was 9 years ago. Yes.
And what did you think was going on with you up to that point?
Well, most of my life, just based on the things I was told from teachers and coworkers and bosses, I thought it was weird, stupid, or lazy.
You thought you were weird, stupid, or lazy?
Yes, or a combination of the three. I didn't know why I acted the way I did, why I had certain, for lack of a better term, quirks that, things that I just had to do. When I got to be about 42, 43, I started really kind of researching the traits of the different things that I had. So I had an idea that it could possibly be autism. I went and saw my psychologist, every week as I was. And one week he asked me, what do you think about the possibility that you're autistic? I said, well, I've considered it. And he said, would you like to be tested? And I said, yeah. Next week, boom, we tested. And the week after that, I got my results back, and I found out I was on the spectrum. At the time, I was diagnosed with Asperger's, which has now just been rolled all into one group of autism spectrum disorder. And I remember walking out to my car thinking, I'm not weird, just autistic, which ended up becoming the phrase that would shape the last 9 years of my life and what is going forward with my autism advocacy.
So how interesting, because most people, you come from some type of diagnosis and you're walking to the car and it is an actual thing. So you now are different forever. Then you walk in one way, one person, you walk out a new one. So, but how unusual that you walk out and you actually you get a diagnosis of something being positive, It is in fact there, but
Yeah.
to you, but it being in your mind, wow, that's good news. How interesting. Because
see,
just,
Lauren,
no, say again.
I walked in the same way that I walked out, but I walked out with an explanation of why I was the way I walked in and walked out.
Right. That's
Nothing
why
changed.
you were different.
Yeah.
Because you walked
Right.
in ignorant to what it really was.
Exactly.
You
Yeah.
walked out knowledgeable about what it really is.
Correct.
So I think that's awesome. So
And-
why pick up the torch, and why didn't you just go back to your own personal life and keep it to yourself? Wham bam, thank you, ma'am. How come? What was it about it that made you get so involved, or were you already an
No,
advocate?
well, I started doing some research and looked around and realized how many adults were getting diagnosed on the spectrum. I was 31 before they started diagnosing kids with autism. So I went all through school and college age years without a diagnosis, without realizing why I was the way I was, and couldn't get the types of accommodations that kids now get when they're in school. And the more I realized that there was a lot more of us out there that were adults that were either not being diagnosed or had just recently been diagnosed, I really decided to pick up the torch, because I realized that I had a voice that I could use, and a lot of other people did not have a voice that they could use or didn't want to use.
Mm-hmm.
So, you know what? Somebody's got to talk and stand up for them. So
Well, this is true. And I remember back when I was in grade school, you know, I was always the kid getting put out in the hallway. They'd slide my little chair out there because I'd finish my work and I'd be entertaining, you know,
yep.
doing anything I could. And then they, you know, found out I wasn't being challenged. And my teacher that year, Mr. Monroe, I hated him at first for doing this. When he came to our house and told my mom, I think Lauren, well, I was Larry then. I think Larry needs a better challenge. Why don't you put him in this private school? And my mom said, okay. And I thought, good. I'm glad to be out of Mr. Monroe's hair, because he was always on me, because I guess he said later that he saw something in me. But then he didn't tell us when he sent me over to this private school that he was moving over there too. So he came over and was the teacher for 6th, 7th, and 8th grade. I was going in 6th grade. So I had his butt for 3 more years. So I was like, man, okay, I see you set me up. But anyway, back then it was called he's just hyper. You know, they didn't tell me I had ADHD. I didn't know that until about 4 years ago. You know, seriously. And now it helps me understand, because you can go in and you can understand that this is not something that's just, I don't know how to control it. It is a real thing. So back to the autism spectrum. Good morning to all of you out there. I see a lot of Dano family. Lou, hi. Lori Whitney. Echeverria, Iris Norma. Norma, you must have had a Facebook account before and had to shut it down when your name was in the real order. I know that trick where you put the last name first. Good one. And Teresa Griffin. Teresa Griffin from The Voice and from Tea Time with Teresa Griffin. Songstress, y'all. If you haven't heard Teresa Griffin sing, you need to Google her and download her music. She ain't no joke. Teresa Griffin, so nice to see you here. Carmen Ramos, Sebastian Torres, Caroline, and the rest of you. So many of you. Welcome, welcome. Invite somebody, you guys. Invite somebody so we can help raise awareness today about what's going on. So you guys, when is this event? Dano, when is this coming up?
This is going to be May 3rd.
May 3rd. What day of the week is that?
That's a Monday at 5 p.m. Eastern Standard Time.
May 3rd at 5 p.m. Eastern Standard Time.
Yeah. What time is it?
Where will people be able to watch this?
Oh, so you can, my platform, Weekly Dose of Dano TV, is going to be hosting the special. So you can watch it on Weekly Dose of Dano TV. Okay.
And I'm going to throw this up on the screen. You guys, at Weekly Dose of Dano TV, lock that in so you can watch it. Also, it'll be shared afterwards on JR's personal page on Facebook. And in the meantime, here, JR, I copied and pasted this. That's supposed to be a
that's on me.
Huh?
That's on me.
Oh, that's all right. www.jrreadspeaks.com, and we'll keep those in rotation throughout the duration of today's episode. So what's different now? On this last one, we had Christopher Casson, autism, art to artism. We had I declare it's Billy Clare. That's the only way I can remember his name. I have to say the whole thing. I declare it's Billy Clare. No, Jimmy Clare. Jimmy Clare. See, it didn't work. Jimmy Clare was here. Who else?
Tucker Bearden.
Tucker Bearden and Tom Island.
Yep.
And this time Christopher's coming back, and then you have some other guests. Can we ask who the other people are on this one, or you want to surprise us?
No, we can ask.
Okay.
We have Krista Holmans, who is known online as the Neurodivergent Rebel. She's a great advocate who was diagnosed at 29. We have
the girl who doesn't wear shoes.
Yeah.
No,
What's her name again?
Krista Holmans.
Didn't she change her name?
She's in the middle of changing her name legally from Krista to Lyric.
All right.
Lyric.
Yeah, because she always has music on, and she loves music and singing, and
I like that.
So she's in the course of changing her name legally to Lyric. Then we have someone you've had on the show before, Sharon Camello, who goes by Auntie Shaza, and she's coming to us straight from the land down under.
Now, is she the teen whisperer?
Yes, she is.
Okay. Yeah.
And then we have Tony Boucher from South Carolina, who is on the spectrum as well, but she's also a therapist who deals exclusively in counseling and working with autistic teens and adults.
So there's all kinds of different.
Of course, great Christopher Casson.
Right. So this time, it's not just people who are on the spectrum. There are a couple of those, but there's also people who work with people.
Well, no, they are all on the spectrum. Tony,
all of them?
Tony is on the spectrum and works with people on the spectrum.
Oh, wow. I didn't realize.
So, no, but I tried to pick people from different backgrounds who have different things that they're very passionate about, who can tell different stories, because like Dr. Stephen Shore said, who is the only autistic professor of autism in the United States, if you've met one person with autism, you've met one person with autism.
Okay. And we want to thank futuristic Star Trek, the new Lieutenant Uhura from Star Trek, who is clearly operating from some planet in the future, because she'll be watching it May 3rd, the year 3021.
Well, it'll be a repeat of that.
I'm sorry, I ain't going to be able to make that one. Clearly. I don't think any of us will be there.
Yeah, it's going to be so great that they're going to play it in 3021 as well.
Right. Thank you, Jeanette. That happened to me.
With technology going the way it is, Dano may be alive in 3021, but we won't.
Well, if they start freezing people,
yeah.
No.
Oh, look at what Lou said. Wait, where is it? Is Lou your brother?
Yeah, that's my brother.
Okay, that comment don't count. That's called nepotism. We keep that off the screen. I'm kidding. I understand. Oh, he's proud of your new about everything. Look at all those congrats. Wait.
I got the family in the building. What can I
found somebody. I finally found somebody you're not related to. There
Caroline, you know what? She's welcome to the family too.
There you go. So everyone's saying hello to both of you. There you go. So let's get back to it. JR, for you. Yes. What would you say is the most common misconception that the general population, if you will, has regarding autism?
That we are completely different from everybody else, that we have brains that are formed improperly, that we
I didn't know that.
Have a disease.
That
autism is a disease and not a genetic condition.
But disease, so a disease, well, you can't catch cancer, so that's a disease. Okay. I didn't know that.
Yeah, well, I mean, you're born with it.
Right. But I didn't know people thought it was a disease. Like, ew, you got autism? That kind of thing?
Yep.
Get out of here.
Yeah.
So you're saying that some people are afraid of people with it? Do you think anybody thinks that it's catchy?
Very few.
Very few. Okay,
Very,
I wasn't that bad. I didn't think
very.
that. Okay, so
In fact, I've got a book idea that I'm going to write when I finish the one I'm working on now, and it's actually called "Autism Isn't Contagious."
love it, love it, Dano. So until this came up and you were brought into the fold to assist with my special on this topic, how much did you really know on the scale of 1 to 10 as far as autism goes?
I'm gonna say about a 1. If I'm gonna be completely honest, I didn't know really anything about it because
Just the name. You knew it was something, but you didn't know anything else.
yeah, exactly. So
And
that
so what have you learned in just such a short period of time?
well, it kind of breaks with the last special that we did. It broke the stigma of a lot of things that I thought. I kind of I had a big blunder on that special when I said, normal. That was one of the things that I shouldn't have brought up, but one of the things that I learned is that normal is not actually it's not a word in the dictionary, but it's not a cookie cutter phrase. It changed my perspective about that. What you consider to be normal is not what JR considers to be normal, is not what I consider to be normal. So with that perspective, it really changed how I think about autism. And I think a big reason why I'm doing this second special for everybody is to really change really go in depth just to see what it's like to live with autism, because this is something that people deal with on a daily basis. Parents deal with it with their children, the people actually living through it. I just wanted to change the perspective and break the barriers, and so people can really learn about what it is. And thankfully with JR, he's been teaching me things left and right on a day-to-day basis.
Yeah.
So the point of it is to really just really change everybody's idea of what it really means to have autism.
Right. Now, here's something, here's one of the things I did used to think, and it is a part of some, but not all. I used to think that I took this from the movie Rain Man. That was really my only connector way back. Right. But I thought that every person that dealt with autism had some secret power. You know what I mean? Like they were like really good at numbers, or they could play ping pong like Forrest Gump, because there was another movie that kind of, and I was like, man, kind of wish I was autistic. Look at how good they are at all these different things. But that's not exactly the case, right, JR?
Well, yes and no. We all do have some kind of power.
Huh?
It just always can't be seen right away. And it's not the type of power like you were talking about, like Rain Man, who was a savant and could compute numbers, like a supercomputer, or Forrest Gump, who can play ping pong. We all have gifts, but they're not always visible right away, and they're not always seen. The best way I can describe like the way my brain works is I can see a problem or a situation, and I know I asked Dano this the other day, but Lauren, have you seen the movie Avengers Endgame?
Mm-mm.
Well, there's a scene where Doctor Strange is sitting there, and his head is just moving around like this with his eyes closed, and they ask him what he's doing, and he was calculating 14 million different possible outcomes of the situation. So that's kind of the way my brain works, is that I can
like a supercomputer.
Yeah, exactly. Like I can look at something and say, okay, I've got this to do, but I can't do it the normal way that most people can. So let's come up with a different way of doing things.
And that's exactly what I want to talk about next. That I love. I learned a lot about that on the special a couple of weeks ago, when you all were saying, it was unanimous between all of the panelists, that we as advocates and just people who, are not on the spectrum need to understand that you don't need to change. We have some things that we can do to understand the world that you operate in. Kind of take that and explain with it. And I'll say this before you head into that room, is I remember back in the day when Brian and I were dating, he showed me a movie he thought was really interesting, of where the premise of the movie was everybody in the world was gay and the weird people were the straight ones. And so all of the stuff was reversed when people were like, what? She has a boyfriend? Oh my God. It was but it was very interesting, the juxtaposition. Yeah. So I thought about that. What if we could see it in reverse? could see, because talk about that. It's not that you need to change as much as some of us need to understand how to adapt to the autistic person that is up close and personal in our world, right? Explain that.
Well, okay. Well, first off, the way I like to explain it is that we're like Macs in a PC world.
Ooh.
That we have a different operating system and a different way of processing things, but at the end of the day, we still get the job done. And yes, people that have neurologically typical brains that we call neurotypicals, we are neurologically divergent brains, so we call ourselves neurodivergent. It's not so much that neurotypicals need to understand us better, because yes, that is the case, but neurodivergents need to understand neurotypicals better as well.
Okay. And so
it goes both ways.
That's what I love about it. It's not any one single person's job. It's all of ours to understand. So what can we do, those of us who are trying to understand and do better? What's the first thing we can do to start the process of understanding for ourselves? Do we go online? Do we watch videos? Do we talk and have the conversation? What do you recommend?
I think all of those are good. I think you go to Google and find articles, find YouTube videos, talk to people, but find them from people that are actually autistic.
Okay.
Because if you listen to most doctors and most mental health professionals, they'll tell you what our deficits are and what we can't do. Where most self-advocates and most people on the spectrum will tell you about our strengths and what we can do.
Okay.
So just, to keep it positive, listen to us.
Right.
And what we can do.
Awesome. Hey, Dano, now you're 24, right?
Yes.
So let's talk about your peers. And since this started, have you had the conversation with any of your friends or peers as far as what you've learned or checked out what they know? And then after that, JR, just head back over to you with this question, which is, if I'm sitting at a table or I'm at a party or some people are over and someone's here that I've never met, and I say, she's a little different. I wonder if she's on the autistic spectrum. How do you know? Do you ask somebody, excuse me, I love those shoes. Are you on the autistic spectrum? You know what I'm saying? How do you open the door to finding out? You know, I don't want to just be staring there like, I bet you she's on the spectrum. Somebody need to ask her. You know what I mean? What do you do? How do you get to it so that you can say, okay, so what can I do to make things better or easier for you? How do we even get there? Dano, first you.
Okay, so I'm going to be honest. No, I haven't had that conversation with my friends.
Why the hell not?
Well, I'm going to get into that. I don't think that they are ready to start to understand. A lot of people are wrapped up in their own life, especially with, people that I know. They're focused on, I got to pay these bills. I got to do work. Everybody's just like, go, go, go. And nobody ever takes the time to really take a step back and see what's going on outside of their own world. So I feel like even if I do talk to them, I'm just going to talk to them blue in the face and nothing's going to happen. But with the special, I'm going to invite everybody as much as I can. And the people that want to actually learn and are willing to learn are going to come on this special and get something out of it. So I think it's just not the right time in order for them to really garner their attention.
Okay. I like that. JR, your question.
Well, I think first off, you, as you said, you were watching them, you're kind of noticing them. A lot of people that are on the spectrum will have some social deficits in that they'll be uncomfortable at parties and in large gatherings and things like that. So that's one way to kind of look and get an idea. But I think just, start having a conversation with them, and you may be able to kind of tell just from trying to have a conversation with them. Mm-hmm. It's different, I think, for you than it would be for me, because I can say I'm on the spectrum and I notice some traits that, make it seem like you might be as well. Is that the case? Whereas you coming in and just going, hey, are you autistic?
So I think y'all need to have some kind of a secret handshake or something.
Oh yeah.
You know.
Yeah. Well, I tell you what, I dated a girl for a while who told me as we went to her mom's house for Thanksgiving, she said, I think my nephew might be autistic as well. And I said, well, I'll tell you what I think. We were in the house 4 minutes and I looked over and I go, yep.
So you knew. When we come back from our short break, we're going to talk about that. What are some of the signals, the signs, if you will, that someone you know, love, or just am watching from a distance may actually be on the spectrum and not know it? We're also going to get into a couple other things that I feel we need to talk about regarding this. And so get your questions ready. Nice time to share the broadcast out. We'll get into it a little bit deeper when we return in just a moment with our guest today as we talk more about what is autism. Right.
I guess we're running the show for today.
I wanted to see what you would do. Welcome back, everybody, to today's episode of Bathrobe Moments. I'm your host, Lauren Marcus Harrison. We're here today with J.R. Reed of J.R. Reed Speaks, not only an autism advocate, but also on the spectrum himself, and then Dano of Weekly Dose of Dano, right here on the E360 network. And we're talking about their special coming up May 3rd. Is there a name? Is there a title for the special?
Go ahead, Jim.
24 hours in the real world of autism.
Highlighting real world. So that means that you're going to expose some of the things that aren't commonly discussed.
Well, yeah, the first special we did, Lauren, which, by the way, thank you so much for having, and it was awesome. But we scratched the surface of autism.
Right.
Now we're going to dig a little deeper. We're going to pull out the shovels.
Now, I remember when you guys reached out and we were talking about the possibility of doing this follow-up special. One of the reasons that you said it was so important to you was because this month of April is, in fact, Autism Awareness Month. There was Autism Awareness Week, Autism Awareness Day. But when those three nested, day, week, and month are over, it's back to business as usual for so many of us. It's almost like the bell ringers at Christmas for Salvation Army. People are still starving, still hungry, still homeless. All the way in June. So you wanted to continue the conversation outside of that sacred space, if you will. Why?
Because it's a year-round problem. I mean, we're born with it. We live with it. And we don't just live with it during April. We live with it 365, 24/7.
Mm-hmm.
So I think carrying the conversation outside of April is important and reinforces to people that it's not just a 1 month problem.
That makes perfect sense. Jeanette Ramos says, we all have gifts. Yes, they're not always seen. JR, you are a supercomputer. Love it. And so, Dano, to you, do you think you had or know anyone that you don't have proof, but do you think, since you've been gathering all these little nuggets, is there anyone that you think, you don't have to say a name, but do you think, well, I wonder if that person is autistic?
Yeah, definitely. 100%.
I know, I have too.
Yeah, and you know, it's not nice to, when you don't know what it possibly is, you just don't like to assume that, oh, like this person's weird or anything like that, because that's probably something that I've done where I've thought, yeah, this person is a little weird. What the heck is wrong with them? And you know, they may or may not have autism, but it's just nice to know that it's definitely a possibility. So now when I go to talk to anybody, I have that in the back of my mind, knowing, okay, like, you know, I can approach this in a better manner.
Exactly. Now, JR, to you, here's something. You know, we know that there are people like yourself who don't know because they haven't been diagnosed yet. And I always used to think, good morning, honey. I used to always think that autism was found or diagnosed in children, because it was just like so easy to see. But that's not the case. So my question is there such a thing? Do you believe there's such a thing as a person who is on the spectrum, like a closet autism person hi, honey, who's on the spectrum, but is afraid to let people know? Talk about that.
Well, first off, I want to kind of help answer the question that you gave to Dano.
Okay.
According to the CDC, 1 in 40 some people are on the spectrum. So I will guarantee you that you both know several people that are on the spectrum.
And they may not know themselves.
They may not know themselves, or what's more likely is they do know and they're ashamed or embarrassed by it and they don't want to come out and say.
See, that's the sad part. That shouldn't be.
That's correct. I am very proudly autistic. I've got the word Asperger's tattooed across my forearm.
How many is there a number of, or are they discovering new ones and naming them every day? How many different categories of autism are there?
Well, I believe there used to be 3 that they just kind of placed at people at different points on the spectrum. But several years ago, the DSM, which is what the psychiatrists use to diagnose and psychologists use to diagnose different mental health conditions, took everything and just rolled it into one autism spectrum disorder. So now, I mean, well, and you know what? I believe that there really is nobody better or worse than anybody else on the spectrum. So calling it Asperger's, calling it this, calling it that is good in that it kind of will give you a place where people are on the spectrum and what some of their abilities or their autistic traits may be. But you roll it all into autism spectrum disorder so that nobody feels any better or any worse than anybody else.
So, for instance, Tucker Bearden's Asperger's. Did Tom Island and did Christopher Casson, did they identify what type of autism they have?
Yeah. Tom and Chris and I for sure were all Asperger's.
So all of you. So Tucker as well.
Yeah, and I don't remember Jimmy saying anything, but I do remember Tucker. I remember reading in Tucker's first book that he was Asperger's, and Tom mentioned that he was also diagnosed with Asperger's.
So is Asperger's the #1 category?
For people that I think advocate more, probably yes. Just in the fact that we are a little more outgoing sometimes and are able to share our stories, are able to share the story of autism. That's a tough one to say.
Yeah.
But yeah, I would say of most of the self-advocates that I know, most of them have either told me that they are Asperger's, or I'm very much guessing that they were diagnosed as Asperger's.
So, do you feel, what's the thing about Asperger's that breaks your heart? What element of what's going on? I mean, when you look at that one thing that you just shake your head and go, that's a damn shame about Asperger's and what we don't know or what people are misinformed about. What's the one thing, if you could just go, like I Dream a Genie, and change it, what would be the first thing you change?
We have what people call what the medical professionals would call social deficits, which is really just a fear sometimes of getting close to people and making friends and maintaining friendships. And it can be really hard for us. I mean, I've got two people in real life as opposed to the internet world, the world of the internet, that I really hang out with and I'm close to, as opposed to a guy like Dano, who might have, a dozen people that he hangs out with on a somewhat regular basis, or you, Lauren, who have, quite a few people in your life that you might call, good friends. Now, that being said, I consider you both good friends, although we haven't actually met and done stuff in person.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Well,
you'll be here soon.
Yeah.
You'll be here.
No, but I think you understand what I'm talking about. I mean, in my life where I live right now, I've got two people that I consistently will spend time with, and that's about it.
Interesting. So, Dano, now that you're more, what do you plan to do? What is your thing? I mean, now you got this coming up. You're going to invite. What is it you want your audience and friends and family? What are you encouraging? You're throwing this bobber out on the water, hoping that some people take a bite and pull it under and learn right alongside of you. So, what is what's the number one reason that this is important to you?
Okay, well, for me is I really want people to not go around being ignorant about the topic of autism, just because, like JR said right now, I can't remember the exact figure, 1 in 46 or 1 in 47, but that's a big portion of the population.
Huge.
Exactly. So how can you just walk around every day and just be totally ignorant to that fact? So that's my reason. I just want everybody to be more informed. And I think it is very interesting for everybody to learn the day-to-day, like, just because this is the one time or one opportunity that you can actually go into these lives of these people that have autism. And I think that's really cool to take yourself out of your shoes and your perspective and put the shoes on of somebody that does have autism. But, everybody's going to take that and interpret it in the special in any manner that they want. So that's my goal, just to inform everybody.
Nice. Hey, JR.
Yes, sir.
What would you say would be like with the special coming up? Do you guys plan on talking to those people that could be young parents with like infants or small children? Any anything you can say to, without giving away the whole special, but like for people that have children, what can they look for if you got an idea? So at what time of the child's development do outward signs start presenting that
3, 4 years old
on the spectrum?
Kids start getting diagnosed as young as 3 and 4.
3 and 4. So, okay. And what, do you have any idea? I know you got some professionals coming on that are going to address this on the special, but any idea, like what's 1 or 2 of the signs that they go,
delayed processing, in that you might ask them a question and it may take them a couple of moments to process what you said, and using Jeanette's example of the supercomputer, finding that right file to bring it out and give the answer. There can be some social deficits that they don't want to play with other kids,
Right.
or they get hyper focused on one thing that they really have an interest in.
Okay.
Could be rocks, could be airplanes, could be trains. In my case, it was comic books, still is.
Okay. So, you guys, thank you, honey.
If he's bringing you breakfast, tell him I want some too.
I know, it's my Morningstar farm. Hot.
It's the hot Morningstar farm.
Yeah. Okay, honey, next time warn me. Sorry, y'all. As we get out of here, on the screen, there's Weekly Dose of Dano TV, where we can watch you. Tell everybody when your show airs, Dano.
My show airs Thursdays at 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time.
Okay, and you can find it at the Weekly Dose of Dano TV show page on Facebook, or just simply download the E360 television app, and you can catch that and many other shows. Great content. And for Mr. Reed, JR, www.jrreedspeaks.com. We all get it. That's where we can go for all things, because you're a speaker, you are an author, you do all kinds of stuff. But that's where they can go to continue the conversation about autism and other things, right?
Yep. They can also go to notweirdjustautistic.com, which is my blog, where I write a lot of stuff about autism, but they can find, if they go to JR Speaks, they'll also find a link back to that as well.
Perfect. So again, Dano, tell us when the date and time of the special. It's in the comments. You'll find it in there at various points of the interview. And tell us again when that is, because we want to make sure we mark our calendars.
So it's going to be May 3rd at 5 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And I also want to say you have a great crowd in the morning. Every time that I go on to watch your show in the morning, it's always the same people commenting and with the positivity. So I wanted to say hello to everybody that I see on a daily basis too when it comes to you.
Thank you. I know I'm very blessed that way. We have a great family here. Okay. Well, we're looking forward to it. And again, thank you both for stepping out of your comfort zone, doing all the work. I know you're putting hours and hours into this special, and it's going to be totally different than the one we had before. So for all of us out here who are willing and ready to learn more in order to uplift those around us on the spectrum and to support those who want to support people on the spectrum, allies, recruiting allies. It's a great way to understand the manner in which we bless others is the manner in which we will be blessed. It's all about the conversation. And now more than ever, with all that's going on in our world socially, health-wise and everything else, I think it's the best time. It's probably more important now than it's been in a long time. It's always important, but even more so now with COVID and all that we come together, have the conversation, understand each other, and not be judgmental of why something could be. You might be surprised, and you don't want to wait until it's on your doorstep to learn. You want to learn just because it's the right thing to do. I want to thank both of you for being here. We support you, and I will be there with bells on come May 5th. May 3rd.
May 3rd.
And it's not 3021, it's 2021.
2021.
Yes, thank you guys. You guys join me tomorrow morning. My guest is going to be, sorry. It was so good. I kept smelling. I couldn't help it.
Your guest is going to be a piece of sausage.
Right. My guest tomorrow is Natalie Chavez Fisher. She has a documentary and a book out on foster care and adoption. Wait till you hear her story. Not at all what you usually hear when you hear those words, adoption and foster care. Totally different story. It's going to knock your socks off. Join me out front tomorrow morning, God willing, at 8 a.m. Central. I'll meet you on the front porch. We'll do it all over again. Now, all of you, get out there today and do what we do. We love up on everyone we can. Every situation you find yourself in front of today, tomorrow, and forevermore. Think to yourself, what can I do to make this situation just a tad bit better than the way I found it. That's all you have to do, and you'll see that you have the power to change the world. And you don't have to change the whole world. Just be willing to change one person's world. I'm Lauren Michaels Harris. I'll see you back here tomorrow morning. Have a great day. Bye, you guys. Thank you so much.
Thank you
for having us.
Bye-bye.
Show me your soul. Baby, I'll show you mine. Show me your soul. Honey, it's way past time. How expensive do I have to be? Need I spell it out before you get it, baby? Show me your soul. And honey, I'll show you mine. I'll show you mine. Oh, I'm standing right here holding up a sign.